Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Laurel Park. Naomi Tucker alongside Callie Francois. 10 races coming your way today. Callie, we're excited about the 4-day live racing coming up.
4 days, as per usual, of some great races coming up. As our racing offices they've been doing a fantastic job lately, as of late, just getting some of these great, fantastic races together. It's been hard to wrangle up a best bet and a price play as of late.
It's not made our job any easier, but a lot more fun, though. Plenty of wagering opportunities coming your way. One of them being tomorrow. Of course, it's Thursday today, but Friday. Stronach 5 Friday tomorrow. One of the best bets in racing. It means that you get the chance to test your handicapping skills at 3 different tracks, because we kick things off with Gulfstream Park, Leg A, race 5, and then Leg B is with us, race number 8. Leg C with us again as well, race number 9. And then we go back to our friends in Florida, Gulfstream Park, race number 7, and Golden Gate Fields to close things off in race number 2. And of course, we do have a first bet offer to help you put in that wager. $10 a free bet on your Stronach 5, where you get the chance that if you bet, let's say you make it a couple of dollars more than $10 betting, it's definitely worth it this sequence. You get that $10 back into your account. A really good opportunity that is tomorrow, Friday, September the 24th. And of course, we're also looking ahead at a full festival of racing. So that's not this weekend, but next weekend, the weekend after coming up. So Saturday, October the 2nd, 5 stakes races, $600,000 in person. I mean, Callie, we are just coming off the back of a stellar weekend. So much going on here in the Mid-Atlantic.
The fall does not disappoint here, as you say, in the Mid-Atlantic. There's so much to offer after an exciting summer that we've had, being at Pimlico all summer long, and Laurel has just not disappointed with giving us any type of excitement whatsoever.
Absolutely. Let's try and pick a few winners, and let's have a current look at the track condition. We will not be racing on the turf, so our first race is going to be 5.5 furlongs on the main track. You see the main track is coded sloppy. It's a little bit cooler, 63 Fahrenheit, which is absolutely perfect racing weather. We did have a little bit rain overnight, but as the track will dry out, we will keep you abreast if there are any changes in the current going. Let's start with that first race in here. 5.5 furlongs on the main track. Start of that early pick. 4 optional claimer starter last. Of course, it's a little bit tricky for us when the races come off the turf, because we're trying to go, okay, which horses are going to translate their form to the main track. And now, especially on the sloppy serves, I remember you were discussing this earlier this morning, you really start looking for that off-track form.
You do. That's immediately the first thing that I go to and I look to when I'm going through these races and essentially re-handicapping them. I'm going for who has done it and who has done it best, and that's the way I'm going to be playing a lot of my picks today.
Yeah, so you landed on the number 4, Charm City Band.
I did, and that's precisely why. If you go back to the Pimlico meet, I just watched the replay. He made a nice lead at it. He skipped right along the track and then just got tired. He was on the rail. Another horse passed by him. I think he performed very well, and I think he's going to continue to do that here.
I agree. He has no trouble getting over the off-going. Has really shown that he's quite fine doing so. I think he's going to get a nice sort of stalking trip. I used a hard tail on top, though. Actually, he was going to be my prize play on the turf. I actually do think his form translates well to the dirt. Ran on the dirt last time at Charlestown. Was actually chasing the pace that day and faded, but this time I think he might just be the dominant speed in here, and that's going to allow him to possibly relax a little bit up front. Both of us looked to the number 5 as well, though. Billingsgate also coming off the back of 2 of those turf tries.
Yeah, exactly. This horse, Super 99 horses have been okay on the off-going, and I just feel like this horse is kind of a horse you can point anywhere. I'm especially going off of that May 6th performance where he was just a bit steady Eddie, a bit even-keeled, but I think that type of performance on a track that was labeled fast did have a little bit of moisture in it, but very much is going to transfer well over to here today.
Yeah, I agree with you. His breeding suggests that the sloppy going isn't going to pose any difficulties for this 3-year-old gelding. Race number 2 is the start of the early pick 4, and our local analyst here, Tim Tulloch, created a ticket for us. Let's see how he plays it here. 4 deep to get you started in this, claiming 8 to 6,000. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then race number 3 goes 3 deep using the 1, the 4, and the 6. The 6, my top pick in there as well, Miracle Bobby. Race number 5, race number 4, excuse me, me. He's starting to tighten things up here. 3 and the 5 there. I also use a fudge cake, and then he also uses the number 5 Notion Interruptus. And then he singles in race number 5, that maiden of 40. Now going to go the 1-turn mile on the dirt here for fillies and mares. He landed on the number 9 Ghost Maiden, who I also used on top. She sprinted at Timonium on her last outing and tried to close into a slower mid-pace. I think pace-wise it's going to get a little bit better for her on the day. And most of her career was spent on turf, but then she increased her performance on the main track. And she's stretching out again here, which is what she did earlier in her career. So I just think that's a combi that's very much going to work. A $12 ticket, quite a cheap ticket to get you going here with the early pick 4, which is in race number 2. We'll have a look at what Callie and I are thinking in this spot. We actually landed on the same horse in here. So we're going to go the 1-turn mile to that second wire. So you're always looking for the type of runner that is going to see out that trip. Now, Rough C had a bit of a bad start in his last run. That was at Timonium. He is dropping significantly in class, but we know that he's capable of seeing out the distance because his near career best effort, he's really ran a good figure over this course and distance in the past.
Exactly that, Naomi. And then I'm also looking to what this horse has done previously since this is a 1-turn mile. I've looked back. He's gone. So I'm not looking at more the mile races, but I am looking at the 2 races in February and April earlier this year. We're going 7 furlongs where it was both on a sloppy and a muddy track. And the horse put in respectable performances, third both time, but as far as the quality that he was up against, very respectable performance for coming off the pace. So maybe that extra real estate will help him along a little bit.
I think it might indeed. You use 3 the hard way in your exacta. I didn't get to him. Charlie Marquez will be aboard, and this is actually a runner that nearly won last time out on similar going as what he'll find today.
And that's exactly what I went off of, Naomi. He just missed the head bob. Super game coming off, and I think this horse is going to love, honestly, the horse will love the surface, clearly, but I think he will also love that 1-turn mile, especially.
Yeah, I use the number 3 Titan as well underneath for Anthony Ferrier. Comes off the back of running over course and distance here, but that was at allowance level. Now kind of taking a steep drop in class here, hoping to get that win on board as we move along to race number 3. Maiden Claimers, 16 to 12,500, 6 furlong the sprinting distance. And Callie, we use similar horses. We kind of have our exacta, but just
yes.
The other way around. I kind of want to say just box them in here, but let's talk about Rippolino first here. Last time he was sprinting on the main track, he ran a fast closing second when he kind of had to get around traffic, which I thought was quite encouraging.
Yeah, I think they tried to extend him, which just wasn't quite his game. And again, it was then they tried him on the turf where he was an MTO, but then his last performance going long on the grass again. Better, but still not good enough. And as you said, I refer to that 5.5 going back on the off-going where not on the off-going, but where he did come up with a nice finish where I think that extra 16th of a mile is really going to help him out.
Yeah, this is an interesting horse. I always thought it was going to be better going along. That's the kind of vibes he was giving me. But then in his last 2 outings going along, that didn't really seem to help him at all.
Nope.
So I like that they tried and decided to cut him back here. I actually go with the speed in this race. Miracle Bobby is most likely going to try his hand at taking the lead in here. I'm not sure there's any more projected in speed in here than him. So you know what I like on an off-going, and that's a horse that kind of gets to the front, and hopefully nobody will be able to make up too much ground.
And I think, and you're right, Naomi, he is really good. The horse is very one pace, so if he gets that lead, he should have no problem. And then Great Notion is always pretty good on the off-going as well.
Yeah, certainly helps as well. Race number 4, 5.5 furlongs the distance. Filly Mares nickel claiming nominative to Lifetime. And Callie, let's start with your top selection in here, Notion Interruptus. She's also projected to be pretty fast early. She was close last time, and she seems to be quite dangerous when she's in the thick of things. However, she doesn't always get away that well.
That's the issue that we're going to be dealing with, Naomi. And the only thing is there enough enough speed that's going to be a threat or a problem. And there's a little bit of touch and go here. Looking at the form, and we've got Fudge Cake, who you know is going to make a bit of a bid for it. So there are a couple of horses in this race that are making the exact same move as Notion Interruptus, and that's just putting a little bit of faith in Grant Whitaker that he'll be able to navigate that, where this horse does, in fact, love to just swerve through and navigate that traffic.
I feel like she's run better when there's a couple of horses around her. I landed on Fudge Cake, very lightly raced, a 3-year-old. She won over the minimum distance on debut at Timonium. Then they tried the turf. I think she just spun her wheels a little bit here, but she will be able to navigate the muddy conditions, because I feel like that translates a little bit better. And of course, for trainer Jill Capuano, who has made a pretty decent start to 2021 and continued throughout the Pimlico meet, and now is trying to carry that momentum in here.
Yeah, the only reason I have her underneath is that because she was able to get away greatly at Timonium, but now she's going to be, it's likely, there is a chance that she will be dealing with some other horses for a longer bit of distance. So that's just me giving her a little bit of a benefit of the doubt. But Pay Bandbox, he is 24% with his progeny with a wet dirt track, as we have here today for Fudge Cake.
Yeah, his offspring certainly run well when there's a little bit of cut in the ground, like we like to say, over the turf. Now, on the dirt, obviously, the off-going seems to suit. Now, on the rail, Frog Horse, JD Acosta, he's going to send her, isn't he? Most likely.
I mean, he's going to try, but can he get there? That's the
Good
big
question,
That's the big thing with me, is that this horse, I mean, hasn't really been able, but looking back in the form, I mean, if you look back in February of last year, going a mile over the off-going, was coming out of the 2-post and was able to get up there for a taste of it, but didn't last.
Yeah, I do think that the cutback to 5.5 is gonna help her a little bit. I mean, you're right. In her last couple, she wasn't able to get to the front. She didn't have enough speed. But then if you go back, like you said, the longer distances, she was able. So I think they're gonna try from that inside post. That
they're going to try.
Seems to be the case. I'm not sure it's gonna suit her though. But if she does manage to get her nose in front early, I think she's gonna enjoy it here. Race number 5, as we have 10 races on the card. Fillies and Mez maiden claiming a 40,000 to 32,000. We're also going to be running the mile on the main track, and hence kind of had to change my picks a little bit. I know you did as well, but let's still have a look at the video of Pounding Music. We were looking at her last effort that was going the mile in 16 on the turf at Pimlico. You can see there she actually had to come over from an outside draw and kind of spied the speed before moving really sharply into it. She was challenging Self Assured, who's not lining up here today, but she also just seemed to have a better kick late. I thought it was a really good tenacious effort. You see her there with the other horse on her inside, ears pricked back and still finding. Now, I know that was on the turf. She'll have to translate that to the main track today, but I gave her a little shot underneath.
Ears pricked back, ears pinned back. She was game and tenacious as you can get. I mean, this filly was trying her heart out, and I think that, I mean, I have yet to, it's just a question of, are we going to see that on the off-going? And you have to, and I love that you have her still up on your ticket. I voted a different way, but I do love the effort of this filly. That's pure heart right there.
Yeah, I just love her, and I think that this is going to be tricky for her, but I'm hoping that she's going to be able to translate that a little bit to the main track. Now, both of us use the Jerry Robb runner Ghost Maiden as our top selection in here. She sprinted at Timonium on our last outing. Kind of tried to close into a slower mid-pace for the distance, but if you just look at her work, her career work, basically, she's gone nearly her entire career going long. Then she went to the main track and sprinted. The main track improved her. She knows how to go long. She can stay the distance. I think that's just a combination that's going to work incredibly well in here.
I mean, a horse that can transfer to dirt going shorter, that's a great indicator for what's going to be happening here today. I think, I have her also picked on top for a reason, and I think we're going to see a bit of what we saw at Pimlico, just take out the turf for the mud that we have here today. And she is definitely a bit of a cruising. She's technically, quote unquote, found her stride 2 starts ago, and she just missed it on the head bob. And again, I think we're going to see a great performance out of Ghost Maiden today.
Yeah, I use a number 10 incontrovertible underneath here. The blinkers go on. This is going to be her second start after a break. She's been working steadily towards this, and she ran well over the mile and an eighth on the main track last time. And she has off-going experience, so I'm hoping that putting that all together, a little ribbon around it, it's going to work for her. And she has a higher draw, so she's not the fastest early. I think that allows her to kind of just slip in and get a bit of a ground-saving run here.
Well, I mean, she doesn't even need to do a ground-saving run since we're breaking out of that. It's going to go to that one-turn mile, so she'll be on the outside. She gets to get up into the spot where she needs to be. I mean, it could be right before the turn, and maybe she'll be 2-3 wide, but I don't think that will really affect her at all. So she's definitely going to be able to get a chance on that outside post. A lot of freedom with that.
Yeah, and the number 15, Lucky Lorraine, does draw in off the AE list here from Mary Appler, Angel Cruz aboard. Second last time out on Wet Fast going at Delaware over this exact distance. Now, I thought the figure just came up a little bit soft, so I opted to not use her, but I like that you have her in your exacta.
Yeah, and then Tim has her picked as well, I think, in for third, I believe. And again, I said it earlier today, I'm going off of who has been able to perform well in the mud. So I understand, and I agree with you. It wasn't as strong a field as what we have here today, but just a touch softer. There's not a huge discrepancy, so that's where I come in with the Wet Fast and the off-going. She's been able to do it twice, and I think on top of that, the mile at Delaware, that's a 2-turn mile. Here, it's a 1-turn. That's a lot of freedom given to the horse.
Do you think that's going to help her that it's a 1-turn here?
I agree. I do. I really do think it's just less complicated. It's way less complicated. I love riding the 1-turn mile here. It's so easy to ride. It's simple. It's very simple, less complicated.
Well, I do think it's a terrific test of stamina. You seem to go a little bit faster than when they have the 2 turns a mile and 16, but then you have that really long stretch. And that's when it really comes out. Who can actually stay the mile? And
it's riding as well. And I mean, obviously, you've got Angel Cruz on, and he knows how to ride the 1-turn mile, as a lot of these guys here at the Maryland Colony do anyway.
Absolutely. They know this track incredibly well. We'll take a quick break, and we'll be back with race 6.
When it comes to getting back in the game, there's only one team to turn to. The team more high school, collegiate, and professional athletes train and recover with. That team is MedStar Sports Medicine. For more than 30 years, MedStar has served as a leader in the diagnosis, treatment, and rehabilitation of orthopedic and sports-related injuries. Ranked among the top programs in the Maryland and Washington regions, we offer rapid access to athletes of all levels. Let the pros who treat the pros treat you. MedStar Sports Medicine.
We're back with some 2-year-old action for race number 6. 6 furlong the distance for the 2-year-old ladies, and also the start of the late pick 5 sequence. Now, Callie, you created a ticket. How are we going to get paid today?
So I started off with a single in race 6. I think Thunder Boss is just going to boss them completely around the track, as she's been able to perform well on an off-going her first time out. Race number 7 for that starter optional claim. I double in. I go with Alpha Chiro and the Right Path, both horses who have been able to perform well on the off-going. Race 8, I go 4 wide because in this starter optional claiming 7 furlongs on the dirt, just because I think there's a lot to cover. They're all good enough, but there's no standout horse in that race. In race number 9, I doubled down again. In the feature race, I go with our MTO and then just one horse who I think might be able to be okay on the surface. And in race 10, to finish out your card of the day, in that maiden claiming 25, I do go 4 wide because this is a maiden claiming 25. We have a couple of first-time starters here. Anything can happen.
Absolutely. Let's talk about race number 6, because you have a single and I didn't even include her in my selections. Talk to me about the Brittany Russell trainee here, Thunder Boss. She is coming off a little bit of a break.
Coming off a bit of a break, but I'm not concerned about that at all, seeing as on September 19th, put in a very nice, beautiful half-a-mile work, going 48-1. And I'm just clearly going off of that first-time performance on the off-going. Bore out during the break, and so going short, going at 5 furlongs, and being able to overcome a lot of that. And I love the horse who coming from the off pace as a first-time starter. That says a lot. That gives the horse, again, again, a lot of options to me. I think Toledo will ride this quite well. And again, this is a horse that has been able to go well off the off-going. That speaks, that's enough for me. That's all I need.
That will certainly help. Yeah, I landed on the number 9, Cost of Fortune, for trainer Jerry O'Dwyer. Johan Rosado takes the ride here. She was in for the maiden claiming 25 earlier, September the 18th. They decided to go here instead. I think that's a vote of confidence. It really, really kind of pricked my ears. And then in that last race, the maiden special weight, she went quite hard up front early, put away the horse on her inside before getting more pressure from another 2 runners on her outside. She tired a little bit, but she didn't completely go backwards. She still kept on trying, kept on finding. Now, she did run into a bit of a nice first-time starter for trainer Shug McGee that day, Frosty Brew with Forrest Boyce on board. And I think that's a filly we're definitely going to see some more of. So Cost of Fortune in here, I just like the way it all sets up for her. She is going to show a little bit of speed, but I don't mind the high draw here because it means that she doesn't actually get any others possibly pressuring her like was the case last time.
Correct, and I think that's the biggest thing about this filly. I think this filly does not like pressure whatsoever, which makes me really proud of her for the performance that she put in at Saratoga on the turf. I think this filly, she just might need another race. I think she's going to be a nice filly, but I think she needs another race or two before we really see some true confidence out of her. But again, as you pointed out, he's scratched her after entering her for the 25 and then bumped up a level. So that's a huge plus.
Yeah, I'm hoping that means something in here. I use the number 10 Drywell as well for trainer Lacey Gaudet, who got really badly checked before the final turn. The horse, before the only turn here, the horse came in on her, but she really started to rally again. She tried that. I'm going to put a line through that race. That was her first out. That was on the off-going actually, and I don't think it was in the off-going that she had some problem with here. And we of course have a video to show you this as well, because I thought it was very, very significant. I know that you picked up on it as well, and we talked about this before, because look at that there.
It's huge.
Completely, the whole momentum is gone there.
Gone. The whole race is gone there. So for her to still be able to show up, and not only show up, but try and show up in between horses, I love the experience she got out of that. Now, I'm going to tell you later why I took her off of my ticket, but I'm really, really glad you kept her on your ticket, because I think she will put in a great performance, certainly an improvement off of last time out.
Oh, absolutely. But do tell, why did you take her off?
So
this is a deep field. It's so many different ways.
It is. It's a very deep field, which is why I went 4 wide in this race. I could have gone 5, but with the John Robb and Xavier Perez blinkers on, sharpening this horse up a bit on an outside post, and flat out is okay with his off-going progeny. I just took a look at the horse again, and I was like, I got to give it another shot.
Yeah, no, I understand that blinkers on for Jerry Roll, but it means they are going to be sharp from the gate. I use the number 3 Spicy Margarita underneath. So do you. She wasn't as sharp out of the gate on her debut at Timonium, and that just places you on the back foot, because she was then hard ridden by Angel Cruz to get up there, and I think she was just used up a little bit too much. I think 6 furlong, just the way that she looked that day, her large stride, this is way more up her street.
Correct. And then when you have a filly on the inside post, I mean, he could have been riding her hard, because she got intimidated with all those horses going around a bull ring pack. There was a lot. That's a lot going on for your first time out, especially as you said, she has this big stride.
She just. By looking at her, she gave me the idea that 6 furlong is just going to suit her better than that really short minimum distance that she was looking at Timonium. Race number 7, optional claimer starter allowance, 7 furlong the distance here. Let's have a look at a video spotlight we have on 2 runners in this spot, Spotted Bull and Alpha Chi Row. And I ended up using both of them on my ticket. Gave a little bit of a nod to Alpha Chi Row though, because he did much more running early. You can see he's the number 6 on the outside part of the leading pair. Spotted Bull is the one coming with a run there. He was actually trailing the field early. Now, he is covering a lot of ground, but I do feel that because Alpha Chiro headlined the pace and really, really went quite fast, it set it up for a closer like Spotted Bull.
It did. I mean, if you look at how much Alpha Chiro earlier was just taking on with doing all of that, but then Spotted Bull went pretty wide going around there. But again, it just set up really nice for him just to kick out, just to get him by a head right right there. And then I go for Alpha Chiro just because he went great on the off footing back at Penn National. That was a stellar performance from that horse.
Yeah, we see this race exactly the same, both taking Alpha Chiro over Spotted Bull, but then also using the number 8, the right path for Jorge Duarte in here. Blinkers come off. I think this also ought to set up for him. Similar running style to Spotted Bull, also a closer, plenty of speed on his inside. And because it's 7 furlongs, he's cutting back from the mile to the 7 furlongs. You know that the pace is going to be a touch faster as well, sometimes allowing these closers to really kind of gobble up the opponents in front of them that are tiring.
I think he's going to gobble up indeed, because if you go back to his performance both at April at Aqueduct and late July in Delaware, those are both off-footing surfaces, and he's been able to perform and come up. Now, I think he has the blinkers on. This horse just may need a little bit of focus at the end, not necessarily to sharpen this horse up, but I feel like this horse, once he does get there, he does hang around a little bit, and just to give him some tunnel vision there.
Yeah, possibly the blinkers off means he's going to be able to actually see the horses around him
Yes.
a little bit more. It means that he's going to do a touch bit more running, which certainly can really kind of fire some horses back up again when they do have that sort of wider view there. Race number 8, optional claimer, starter allowance, 7 furlongs the distance here. And both of us use the number 3 on top, Inspector Frost, for trainer Lacey Gaudet. Possibly going to try and take the lead here. I'm a little bit afraid of Mr. Everything on his inside, who's also possibly going to be quite sharp here, but Inspector Frost seems to come in here in absolutely terrific form.
And that's exactly what I'm going off of, because I've looked at the horse's previous form, and the last off-going he did was at Oaklawn Park in February, where it wasn't great. He lost by 31 lengths. The horse completely trailed off, but I think we're dealing with a different Inspector Frost now these days, and I'm giving the green light that this horse will be all right on the off-going.
It really seems like this 3-year-old has now found some of his better form in this spot, so really kind of excited to see how Inspector Frost is going to fare here. You use the number 9 towards the outside that I use as well, Dreaming of Carrots for Bruno Tesori. Is going to be first off the claim for the Tesori barn. We know he does very well with those types, and if you look at some of the form lines and the speed figures, this horse is absolutely capable of besting this field, especially now with possibly a new routine, a new barn. We know that this can freshen horses up. He is a 4-year-old and has been showing quite some consistency as well.
Yeah, I mean, with Bruno Tesori, as in first after the claim, he's sitting on a 25%. I mean, Bruno does incredibly well with his new horses that come into his barn, and I think Carlos Lopez is the perfect jock for this horse. I'm going back 2 starts ago where it was off the off-going, but still a fast track, gun to the lead, way too much. There was way too much going on that he did early on in the race, and he just missed out. I think Carlos is going to give a bang-up ride on this horse.
Yeah, I use the number 6 Super Emperor underneath, the number 8 Super Emperor underneath as well. 3891 for me, 3967 for Cali. Race number 9. This is our feature race of the day. Optional claimer, 3 other than 6 furlongs on the main track in this spot. And this is one of the races that we were definitely discussing pre that we went on air here. Of course, our feature now being taken off the turf track, but that's exactly what Band on Tour was hoping for as the main track only entry in here for Gary Capuano, Javier Toledo. This is just an incredibly flexible gelding. He can run on the off-going, he can run on the fast-going. He is always going to try his best and has really good tactical ability and a lovely higher draw.
Well, I love that this horse is able to just gun for the lead right away and able to, like you said, that tactical pace where he sat right off, and also just that last time out, it was kind of a head-to-head the entire way around. There was a duel, and absolutely a duel, and he handled it beautifully. So I think any horse that in this field that comes up to him is not going to be able to catch him.
Yeah, no, I think he's going to be very, very tough. I did wanted to give a nod to the veteran runner in here, 7-year-old Arthur's Hope. Now, when we were on the turf, I kind of disregarded him, but on the main track, that is his game because he was going to be first-time turf. I didn't think that would suit, but this is going to suit. He's coming out of a stakes race at Charleston. I think that was just a little bit of a tight track for him. I think he's better over, Laurel Park distances here. He did come back after a very long layoff and did quite decently. Has been running at Stakes Company as well. I used him underneath because I am wondering if he's going to be sharp enough on the day to, for example, hold off a very fast early band on tour.
And that's why I left him underneath as well, my Naomi, because the horse is good, but he's not quick enough at this distance for this race that he's going to need today.
Yeah, he does post some good pace figures in here. He's very much capable of cruising at that higher speed that he needs for this. Both of us factor it in on the rail. Carlos Macia, Jorge Ruiz. This is a runner that is capable of running absolutely stellar high, 90s and upwards speed figures, but kind of comes in and out of form a little bit. I don't think it's a particular reason. It's just kind of his style. He cycles a little bit. Now in his last race, cycled downwards. So I'm waiting for him to come back up here.
Well, so he cycled down, and then before that he won, and before that he cycled down, and before that he won. So I'm just kind of going with this on-off pattern that he's been giving us all of 2021. Now it took him a while to get back to that form, but I think the horse is going well. He put in a nice 3 furlong workout just before this, just last week. So I think the horse is just going in great form to be able to perform today.
Yeah, I think this is the type of runner that just decides, I need this race off, I'm going to run this race. And then he comes and he goes. But he's shown plenty of ability to be able to snatch our feature on the day. Our nightcap is race number 10, 6 furlongs on the main track in here. Maiden claiming 25 to 20,000. Another one for the juveniles. I always love these 2-year-old races. Both of us landed on the number 5 Heavenly Trip for trainer Brittany Russell. Now, she had a bit of fun before the race last time out. That was on the turf. I do believe that her better performances have been on the main track, and that is what she's returning to today.
Yeah, I put a big scratch through that race last time out. She was just on a kick on her own last time out. She's actually my best bet of the day, and I think this filly is going to absolutely love this surface and love this distance. She needs a little bit of that snap up, and I'm just looking to see if she can perform at that. So she's been taking a drop down in class. I mean, it's an obvious drop down, but when we go back to a similar level, that Waver Maiden 40, she just missed it out on the head bob on her first time out. So I think with the quality of class that she has to contend with today, she's going to outshine everybody.
No, he's definitely going to be doing better here. Maiden special weight, running against, Buffalo and a couple of nice 2-year-olds on the circuit. Maiden 25, you do tend to see, just a touch lesser level than the Maiden 40 to Maiden special weight. So I think Heavenly Trip is going to enjoy it here. And I've been following him a little bit, just a very well-balanced individual. And he looked dappled and he looked good. And indeed, put a line through that last race, come back here much stronger. Notion to tap it, first time starter here by Great Notion for trainer Hammy Smith. Now, interestingly enough, the dam was a turf miler, and 2 out of 7 siblings ran a second on debut. None have won yet, but very much taken by this very completed work tab in here. This is, when we're looking at work tab, this kind of ticks all the boxes.
He does. He takes the cake with it. I mean, I love this. I love the 5 furlong gate workout to the 5 furlong after that. And so you're going on the breeding edge of it where this horse will be able to handle today. And then I'm going off of the fact that Hammy Smith, rain or shine, he trains these horses on whatever kind of surface in the morning. So this surface will not affect this horse at all with Notion to tap it. I think that just off of Hammy's training base alone, that's going to overtake anything that this first timer will need to overturn.
Yeah, that's a terrific insight there, because indeed Hamilton Smith will work them on the off-going as well, giving them that experience so they know what to expect going over this surface. Both of us using number 2, Slow Gin Biz as well for trainer Claudio Gonzalez. I did want to quickly touch upon this 2-year-old gelding, because in his last outing at Monmouth at the Maiden 25, had a high gate, he had to come over, was on the pace, 3 wide pace duel that day, no moment to catch his breath. He got tired, he never switched his leads. I'm hoping for him that he's going to get a less eventful race, less speed early, and possibly be able to relax a little more and finally switch back to the right lead to give him that kind of fresh burst of energy.
Yeah, and I think for him to hold out as long as he did and as well as he did, for having to do all of that work first time out, I mean, you can't knock this horse against it at all. And the dam has been proven with some nicer runners as of late. So I think Slobinge is just undercut for morning line 5-1, but I think the horse is better than that, as do you, Naomi.
Well, 5-1, that is definitely a price play to use here in the nightcap. So 10 races coming your way. I will be back again later this afternoon. So will you, Callie. We'll be joined by Tim Tulloch as well. So do stay tuned because the racing will start shortly and hopefully we're going to find you some winners. Good luck, everyone.